You're still watching the AM show, and it's now time for my banner. And on my banner today, access to justice in Ghana is a fundamental right. Ghana's 1992 constitution enjoins the state to ensure that all citizens have access to legal services within a broad framework of a legal system that delivers justice equitably to all. Now, it encompasses the responsiveness of the state through its judicial system to ensure that citizens held by the police as suspects exhaust the entire legal system of process. Now, it provides legal aid for those who cannot afford the services of a legal counsel and further ensures the protection of the rights of convicted persons in custody of the state. The Executive Director, Legal Aid Scheme, Yahya Al-Hassan Saini, is with me to explore the legal aid further. And let me just remind viewers that you can also call in later and share your concerns with us. Okay, Mr. Yahya Al-Hassan Saini, good morning and thanks for coming.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay. You said you were once a lawyer. You're a former lawyer. I'm very interested in that. This morning I'm going to be talking law. Unfortunately, I'm not too well versed in that area, but I hope that we do bring out the best in our discussion.
Yes.
All right. I'm sure we've said a lot about legal aid. Is there anything we left out?
Not really. Yeah, the basic thing about the Constitution's guarantee that, especially in criminal justice, for a person who is arrested, detained, or restricted, to exercise a right to a lawyer of his choice. And in a country in which, in a world in which not everybody can afford a lawyer of choice, well, no lawyer of choice is not something that anybody can just pick. Then it means that the state has to make that right realizable for those who don't have the money.
Okay.
And also there's a guarantee of, and I think the reason why the Constitution guarantees access to counsel is that counsel is necessary, maybe even essential sometimes, for a fair trial to be conducted. And so that that comes also with the constitutional guarantee of a fair trial for everybody in a criminal justice system. So legal aid becomes very essential in the kind of community that we live in.
I see. So Legal Aid Article 294, Section 4 of the 1992 Constitution requires an entitlement of legal aid services to all persons. But is this a real situation? Does every single person who needs a lawyer but cannot afford get access to a lawyer?
The Constitution makes the provision for legal aid to be provided for people, and I wouldn't say that that is absolute as things stand now, because we don't have enough lawyers, even nationally, and then legal aid is a lot less equipped with lawyers to be able to meet the kind of
Why is this
situation.
so? Money, remuneration?
Yes. Money, remuneration is basic, as it were. Because there are two ways in which legal aid is supposed to have lawyers to do things. One is the bars, lawyers generally, private lawyers, giving up some time to give legal assistance to people. The second is the state employing lawyers full-time to provide the access to justice for people. Both ways, some money is required. Because even if the lawyers decide to do things pro bono, some of their costs they will expect to be contributed to by the state. And if the lawyers are going to be employed full-time, it means their condition of service, remuneration and everything has to be taken care of by the state. So whichever way you look at it, money becomes an issue. And but maybe I shouldn't just say the state alone, because I think the state recognizes, even by Parliament's enactment of the law regulating the grant of legal aid, that the cost of justice is so big that the state can do with contribution from other stakeholders. So the law provides for the funds to include gifts and donations. As it were.
Do they come in regularly?
I wouldn't say, as for donations and funds, I wouldn't say they come in regularly. It comes very rarely, except when we think of the state's development partners' contributions. Because over the past few years, the UNDP has done quite a lot to keep the scheme running. But that certainly will not include payment of salaries for lawyers and other personnel. They will help with equipment, they will help with some logistics, they will help with some capacity building, training of personnel if they are available.
I mean, on the lighter side, is that the reason why a lot of people that I have spoken with over the last few weeks tell me that, look, if you go for a state lawyer, trust me, you're as good as losing your case in court? Is that the reason?
Actually, if people have said that, I wouldn't. I am yet to find someone who says that the state provided me with a lawyer under a legal aid scheme, and the person did not perform the work the way a lawyer professionally ought to. I haven't come across that yet. But the reality is that lawyers are human beings like everybody else. And in every profession, you will have people who will be good and diligent at their job. You will have people who will be lackadaisical and actually not up to it at their job, but they'll still be professionals. Whichever profession you look at, you will have those kind of things. So if some lawyers do not perform the way they ought to perform and therefore mess up their clients' cases, it will not be because it is the state that assigned them. It will be because the lawyers as lawyers themselves are not up to it. I think that's the way I understand it.
I see. So, I mean, in 2012, the legal aid scheme, you had about 14 attorneys. Do you still have them?
Yes. In 2012, we had about 14 attorneys. And between then and now, we have a little over a month ago, I think it was sometime in September, we managed to get the state to give us clearance to recruit 10 more lawyers. And we have been trying to get the 10 lawyers. The difficulty, we did talk about remuneration, the difficulty about getting lawyers for full-time legal aid scheme is that I realized that there are differences between the remuneration for lawyers in the legal aid scheme and lawyers in other public justice sector institutions, to the detriment of the lawyers in the legal aid scheme. And because of that, not too many lawyers are prepared to take up that assignment.
I see.
So it is not too easy getting even the 10 lawyers to recruit, even though we have the 14 the clearance to recruit them.
Okay.
Formally. So basically
that's very serious. I mean, it means that this has been there for a very long time, and it looks like it's not improving. Are we looking? Can we preview a brighter future?
I wouldn't say it is not improving, because when it started when the scheme was set up on its own in about 1996, there were 9 lawyers who were one in each region, who were taking care of the regions and trying to administer the things as it were. Between then and now, there has been some progress in getting some private lawyers to participate in it, and also in seeding of some of the things that a lawyer normally would have done. That is, assisting people to arrive at compromises to avoid litigation. We have been able to seed that one off to ADR personnel whom we have trained and recruited. So, except in the criminal justice sector, where lawyers are necessary, I wouldn't say that we have not progressed very much over the years. I wouldn't say so.
I see. I see. And you were talking about the regions, having 9 representatives across the regions. I mean, is it still the same? Do all the regions in Ghana have access to the legal aid scheme lawyers?
Yes, every region. Yeah, and now every region has. Upper West did not have for about 3-4 years.
Why?
Because we could not get a lawyer. The lawyer who was there originally passed on, unfortunately. Peace be upon him. Then we could not get a replacement for him from about 2009 till sometime early this year. So, basically because of the things that I talked about, the conditions of service, and then also many people consider Upper West a more rural place, and people are not too keen on going there because they think that they are going to lose some kind of facilities that they would have gotten if they were in Accra or Kumasi or Second Takoradi. So there are those difficulties. So if you cannot give the conditions that will encourage the persons to go there, it becomes a little more difficult to get people to get some places. But now, I think every region we have at least one lawyer.
At least one lawyer in every region.
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, the situation with money, with funds, is really nothing good to write home about. Yeah. Forgive me, but there's no better way to put it. But does this then encourage the lawyers under the legal aid scheme to kind of, yes, we know it's supposed to be free, more or less, but do the lawyers then say, okay, pay something small and let me just help you or something? Are the lawyers pushed to take monies from their clients?
They are not expected to, and I haven't yet had a report that a legal aid lawyer has charged a client. I haven't had a report yet. So, like I indicated, you accept to do a job and you apply yourself to it, or you don't accept to do it and you don't do it. So I think that is the situation that lawyers in the legal scheme find themselves. And there's one thing that I realized, that for those who have never had anything to do with legal aid, they don't see the seriousness of the need for it. But for those who have had some contact with it, in whichever form, accompanied somebody to the scheme and seen what goes on there, actually helped with legal aid delivery or access legal aid. For those people, each time they will talk about legal aid in a way that everybody will want to do legal aid.
Okay.
And will want to provide for it.
I see. I see. Now, talking about this, have you come up with ways of sourcing for funds, I mean, from corporate Ghana or other bodies?
Yes, we have a strategic plan which we launched
last Wednesday.
2 days ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
Together with your website.
With the website.
We'll talk more about that.
Yes. Part of the thing is that we recognize that justice is not cheap. And even if we say legal aid is generally free, it is only free for the person who accesses it. But for the person who provides it, there still is a cost that must be borne, and must be borne by somebody. So because of that, the resources to bear those costs is essential.
Okay.
And we all know, over the past few days, I think that since a few days ago, we had this person, I'll say celebrity, for want of a better word, I'll say celebrity, passing on in prison. Over the past few days, I've been hearing quite a few things on radio about conditions in our prisons. And for some people, talking about even how they got there and why they think that if they had had proper assistance, they probably would not have gotten there. And the emotion with which some people have started responding to those stories that they are hearing. And it just strikes me, what is the cost of injustice? can Ghana bear it? If we can't, what effort are we making to avoid continued injustice? I think that's a question that we need to think about.
Definitely.
And that is not a question just that we can put at the doorstep of government. Because when it does happen, normally, as for government, the people in government can get lost. But as individuals, we each bear the brunt of what we are taking for granted.
Definitely.
And I think that's a spirit in which some of us think that, yes, government needs to take the lead in providing these resources. But as individuals, we need also to do what we can to ensure that the worst doesn't happen. Because if the worst does happen, and I hope it never does,
we pray it never does.
It is not something that we can rely on government anymore to do anything.
What is the worst that can happen?
What is the worst that can happen? Well, I think that some of the perceptions of injustice, the results of those things, are the things of terrorism that we have, for instance. And when those things start, you don't know where it ends.
Definitely.
And you don't know who it affects. Because for people who think that the society has abandoned them, then they abandon the society. And those kind of things can really create problems. And I think that, I pray that Ghana doesn't work itself into that kind of situation. And the way not to do it is to do everything to reduce the perception of neglect of people who need assistance.
Okay.
That's one of the ways.
All right. We'll come back and talk about what happened 2 days ago with your launch. But if you have had any problem getting access to legal aid or a lawyer because you're poor, this is the time you'd have to speak up on the show. The number, let me see if I can remember, 0302-211-691 or 692. So do bring in your call, your suggestions, your questions. 0302-211-691, 0302-211-692. Let's hear you if you've had any problem getting access to a lawyer, but haven't been able to access one because you're poor. Let's see. Let's hear you. And so last Wednesday, you launched your website and a 5-year strategic plan. I mean, what does it encompass in the 5-year strategic plan?
Yes, actually, we have the board's responsibility to develop a policy and program for implementation throughout the country and to supervise its implementation. We decide that we will have it on a 5-yearly basis, subject to review over the years. The last one lapsed in 2012. And then we worked on this one last year and got this one done, launched 3 days ago. Basically, we need to have a greater contribution to ensuring that we have a country in which justice is not only done, but it's also seen, manifested to be done by those who need and deserve it.
I see.
But that is not something that we know that that's not something that legal aid alone can do, because a number of institutions are involved in that one. But for the part of legal aid, there are things that we think we need to do to be able to ensure that these things happen. We have to develop our responsiveness to some of these things a little more. So we need clearly to make ourselves available.
Sure.
And have ourselves properly trained to be able to do the work that we need to do, and also make sure that we are available where we are needed for the service, because we are supposed to because justice is not only in Accra secondary.
Definitely, if there's justice everywhere, then precisely. I mean, one lawyer in a region is...
It's not enough.
Yes. But how many do you have in Accra?
In Accra now...
That's the hub, I guess.
The hub, yes. Accra now, we have 5.
Ah. Because everything good happens in Accra. Or they don't want to get transferred to other regions.
No, actually, part of it is because Accra is crowded. And crowded with a lot of people who are not capable of getting all the good things that Accra provides or affording them.
I see.
So there are the difficulties that come up with people like that, and they need the assistance to do this. And so I think that's why we have that many lawyers settled in Accra. But that's one of the basic reasons for us. But maybe for the lawyers, there is more than that reason, because at least the facilities that are available in Accra may not be available in other places that they would have would have wanted them to go. But we have one or so lawyers who are even prepared to go live in the district and work for the district people. Yeah, so I think that we are getting there.
I see. All right, so I'm still in the studio with Executive Director at the Legal Aid Scheme, Yahya Al-Hassan Saini. And we're talking legal aid this morning. We will be talking about Christmas in a bit, but Mr. Saini, I mean, you've launched the 5-year strategic plan. First of all, the website, what's the address?
Yeah, there is www.legalaidghana.org, I think.
Legalaidghana.org, so do try and check it out. Okay, so 5-year strategic plan. When does it take effect?
It's supposed to, it's taking effect this year. So part of these other launches that we had with it are actually part of the implementation of the strategic plan. The development of the guide for legal aid delivery in Ghana is part of the strategy to see that legal aid is properly delivered across the country. And then the website is also to let people know more about it, and also to afford people the opportunity even to get legal aid without having to physically go to a legal aid scheme to apply for legal aid that like it's being done now. So there are those opportunities that there are that as part of the implementation of the strategic plan we have already started. So we are hoping that with that started, we'll be able to get the rest of it implemented over the next 4 years, subject to review, like I said. That is if everybody comes on board and supports us to get the things that we need to get done over the period. Okay,
in wrapping up, I mean, forgive me for asking this question, but I don't want a biased view. Do you think it's worth being part of the legal aid scheme, considering the fact that there's a challenge, a huge challenge with funds?
Depending on what one wants.
Of course, I spent so much money going to the law school, and then I expect that I reap back what I have sown into my education, and I come back and I want to join legal aid scheme, knowing that almost all the lawyers there in court are broke. Is it worth being part of it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, depending on what you want. Because there are some people who have a commitment to seeing human dignity restored to people, and wouldn't mind what costs they have to bear to get that done. For people like that, legal aid is worth working for. But for those who are in a hurry to get themselves a mansion in the first few years of becoming a lawyer, a 4-wheel drive in the first few years of becoming a lawyer, clearly legal aid scheme will not be the place for them.
It's such a pity, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the poor also need and deserve some help.
Definitely, if you ask me, the poor need and deserve the best. Because it is only the best that is good for the poor. Otherwise, you don't give them anything at all. So that's why I was saying that the money is important and is good. But money by itself will not help get the things that need getting done properly. So what we need is, yes, money and other conditions of service that will encourage people to be able to provide the service comfortably. That one basic line that is necessary.
So it will only take a good heart.
But it requires a good heart to be able to provide legal aid.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yaya Al-Hassan Saini. He's Executive Director at Legal Aid Scheme. Thanks very much for your time, and we hope we'll get to see you again sometime soon, and by which time a lot of money will be coming in, and so my daughter should be willing to be part of the Legal Aid Scheme, at least to help the poor.
Thank you, and we look forward to it.
Sure. All right, so it's just 2 weeks to Christmas, and well, I can't feel Christmas because my pocket is not, allowing me to feel Christmas. But we're getting on the streets in our roving report for this morning and finding out, are you feeling the Christmas buzz? Do you really feel that there's some Christmas coming? Is it all about partying and celebrations, or a period of sober reflection on what the Lord's birth came? In fact, was Jesus Christ born in December at all? Anyway, that's what we've known ever since we were born. So Kwabena Chenchehene went onto the streets, and he was trying to find out from one or two of you if indeed you feel Christmas in the air.
Well, I seem not to be feeling the Hamatan. Usually around this time, there's a lot of feeling. The place becomes dry, your lips, people selling lip balms and all. But this time around, I don't seem to be feeling that. And guess what? Today is the 12th day of December, 2014. 12/12/14. Just about 13 more days to Christmas. But, that's the thing. The feeling seems to be different in many regards. Aside the weather, the climate and all, and the atmospheric things, people are also saying that, they don't really have plans for Christmas. Things are not as they hoped them to be. They anticipated that they would be. And so for one reason or the other, people are not really keen on getting to Christmas and celebrating it. Me, for one, I don't know. I'm not too sure I'm ready for Christmas anyway. But I don't know about you. Let's get to find out from the streets of Accra what people make of this feeling. I mean, is this Christmas thing still in the air? Whether or not they are preparing for Christmas and how they plan to celebrate this year's Christmas. Join us.
I don't really think so, because right here in Accra, I'm not feeling a Christmas at all. I don't see anything that, it's really Christmas. I'm not seeing anything.
Do you think it's just in Accra, or it's probably everywhere in the country?
I'm sure it's everywhere, because with the crisis going on, I'm sure most people don't, have the money and stuff, and with the licenses, it all counts. Yeah.
So what are your plans for Christmas? Obviously, you should have some plans.
Yeah, I'll be vacating soon. So right now, my plans will be with my family. I'm just spending the Christmas with my family, that's all.
So you'll be home 25th, 26th, 31st, you'll just be home?
Yeah, we'll be going out though, but with my family.
Our feeling the anxiety of the Christmas. Actually, the Christmas is all about sharing. It's all about gifts, and it's all about impartation of the Christmas. So we all need to be involved to share one thing and another. That is it.
But so you are feeling the breeze. A lot of people are saying that, Charlie, we are not really feeling anything. How come? Why do you think that so?
No, life is all about differentiation. Everybody needs your opinion, how you feel something. So me personally, I've planned ahead before the Christmas. Then the Christmas is not a new thing to me. So that is it. So I'm feeling the anxiety of it.
Share your plans with us. How do you plan on spending Christmas?
Oh, well, actually, now I'm in Ghana, but by the 23rd, I'm going to Nigeria to go and spend my Christmas, not in Ghana. So by the grace of God, everything is going smoothly for me.
So getting to Nigeria, is it that you are going to be partying, clubbing, or reminiscing about the birth of Christ and everything? What's really going to be the approach?
Wow, actually, Nigeria is a free country, but actually, what I'm planning is that I don't want to spend my Christmas in Ghana because there is not enough anxiety in Ghana. But actually, in Nigeria, I have a lot of things to do, and I have a group that I will join so that we can celebrate it together.
fake bronya pa ne di no fake bronya no cash ko to ma yero se rana krampo yetu aka kitole krampo yinyina ya dia ne hipiko esika na ma wade sika na sa na bronya akokora wade sa akokọ ba ko ese ko busa akokọ ba ko ese 120 Ghana cedis na o sika ne pe na ese na akoto akokọ ba ko 120 nti ese bronya e di emfa se postpone bronya no ko this another year because em why enye
Okay, so this gentleman is telling me that, you know what, the economy is not favorable enough. He's not really seeing and feeling the fever. That there's nothing showing that there's Christmas. You know, he is actually complaining of the harsh economic conditions in the country. There's another gentleman here. I'd like to speak to him. Let me quickly talk to him and find out what he also makes of this Christmas. Boss, good morning.
Send me that for the kind of showing cost of sa ban no se sika na nu kromo edwuma bibia ehunya
na se wo de enya ban sem fim na ehwa de se nka ban na kanka bronya brese no nka usually we hwa na nka opebre na ba ne ade se se ase yen sheda nti bibia sa
masa jese you ase kwa sesan de ba e na ban so be sesan bibia wo ho jese hwe nkoso wo ho unipa edi hia mianzo wo na odi hia so go di bronya oh nti hwe nkoso
nti wo be di bronya na
obronya de mi di bronya na mi diska kwa mi di bronya
nti nka wo di bronya nka den na wo ye ka den na obeye
se na nka bia watoto bibi kakra wo de kɔhwe fie nkwala wo fie wo fie beto atare bi nyade ba hwe nkoso nti no it's like when hunu say wo beto wo be preparation ma general ho be kyerɛ so acha se
nti sesi a emfa se wo yire ne ma wo fia nti den na obeka kyerɛ because oba na ehwe wonim se wo de bibi beba nkora na ehwe wonim se wo beto bibi abrom den na obeka kyerɛ
edwani de o mbedi na atare ndo me manage dada na till time say bia ni mu be sisan che say change beba se blonya de je be di blonya
emfi ne kopim 25 no hwa bibi be sisan na bibi betumi asisan ma
masa bibi be sisan ka sisan dada and there's na anya blonya na nya drewie blonya na ewo mu no na hwe nkoso